All right, let's head overseas now and check in with Yahoo Finance's Tom Belger. Tom, from oil to Airbus. Airbus out with some pretty dramatic things this morning.
Yeah, they're predicting a 40% drop in production and deliveries, not just next year, but the following year versus not just this year, but next year even, versus their pre-virus plans. They've been pretty tight-lipped about what that means for staff and job cuts. But when I asked them about it this morning, they declined to comment on that. But it feels like the writing's on the wall. You've seen Airbus' CEO, Guillaume Faury, saying it's a brutal fact now that it needs to adjust to reflect that huge drop in production. They're not actually expecting output to return to normal until 2025. But he's already issued a pretty stark warning in April that they're bleeding cash at an unprecedented rate, threatening the very existence of the company. He does say there's some signs of things gradually improving, though. Travel restrictions easing, that means airlines can actually take deliveries. And you've seen bailouts that might give Lufthansa and Air France KLM a bit more confidence making orders. Brian.
All right, Tom, Brexit back on the docket today.
Yeah, you could be forgiven for hearing about yet another round of Brexit talks and switching off 4 years now after Britain voted to leave the EU, the anniversary last week. But we are at another key crunch point with these talks, kickstarting today, even in Brussels, face-to-face talks for the first time. Technically, we are outside the EU now, Britain, but it's still inside the single market. As part of a transition deal that only runs until the end of the year, negotiations now to try and break the deadlock about what happens next, the form that deal will take. And the fear that investors have is that if no deal is agreed very soon, Britain initially had said by July, that Britain will crash out on WTO terms at the end of the year. That prospect does seem now to be increasing. Prime Minister Boris Johnson warning over the weekend he's prepared to walk away on what he slightly bizarrely called Australian terms, meaning those WTO terms. So while we do have those negotiators meeting face-to-face today, the signs aren't great. Barnier, the chief negotiator on the EU side, he said that the EU had a go at the UK even for insisting on leaving the EU's rules after that transition period ends, but saying nothing about precisely what rules Britain wants to follow on issues like state aid. So the deadlock continues. Brian.
I assure you, Tom, I have not forgotten about Brexit. Tom Belger, thanks so much.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.